I'm so excited because we get to talk about B squared tonight. Good evening. Hello, everybody. Great to see everybody. 7 o'clock. So let's see who is there. And if you are there, give me a thumbs up that you can see the screen and that the sound is pretty decent. Let's give it another minute or two as people join us. But hello to everybody. Hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Sniffy sniff time, drinky drink time, swirly swirl time. Best time of the day. I'm getting some inspiration. I'm being inspired because we're drinking about, or talking about V squared. Let's say hi to some people. Lindsay, Madeline, lovely. Hi, Maureen Hamilton Scott. Laura Purdy, good evening to you, ma'am. Lanny, hello, my friend. God bless you guys. Kelly Goff, present and accounted for. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having us. Adam Rockhill, pleasure to see you again, sir. Shannon Holland, good evening, ma'am. Kathy Harden, Terry Hauser, Kathy Clifton, Susan Crandall. My word, we have some amazing people. Nancy Bauer, hi there, and hi right back to you, Nancy. Appreciate everything you do. Janine and Rick, lovely to see you guys. Laura Brown, there we are. We're good here technically. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Marianne Clemente and Drennan up in Michigan. Hi, guys. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day, Marianne. Lots of love to you and the fam. Send our best to everyone up there. Who else is here? Cindy Schornberg. I know that name. Cindy Schornberg. Do you know Cindy? Owner of Keswick Vineyards. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you. And James Belithio, Marietta Madden. Oh, man, we have an incredible crowd. So let's give it one more minute. Why don't you guys and girls pour yourself a glass of wine? We're talking about B squared. We're talking about Virginia. We're enjoying Virginia wine. Tell me what you're drinking. Tell me what's in your glass. If not Verdeo, if not Keswick, if not, what are you drinking? Share with us. Send us a photograph. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I love this wine. As you can see, we haven't even spoken about it yet. Well, it is 7:02. Fashionably late, at least 5 minutes. So let's see who else is there. Jess Nelson, Jess and Seth from New York, welcome. So lovely to have you. Catherine Smith, Andrea Peters, Ashley Knight, good evening. Drew and Kevin out of PA. Hey, Stephen. Hey, right back. Frank Smith. Hey. Can't wait back to DJing at some awesome Keswick weddings. Can't wait to have you guys. And we're going to talk about opening and what that might mean. We're going to talk about wine. We're going to talk about, man, we've got a lot to talk about. So why don't we crack into it? So firstly, wanted to wish all you mothers, you ladies who are moms, a happy Mother's Day. You guys are incredible. We don't tell you we love you enough. We don't tell you how much we appreciate it. But to my moms, Annette and Val and Cindy, happy Mother's Day. I hope you had a wonderful day and appreciate it. And to my wife, who's just an incredible mother, Kath, love you guys. So incredible Mother's Day. Thank you for people reaching out, wondering how we did this weekend in the vineyard. There's good and bad news. The good news is from Friday to Saturday, we got through. We had no damage whatsoever. The bad news is Saturday into Sunday, we got clattered. I must have forgot to send Mother Nature her Mother's Day card because temperatures dropped, temperatures plummeted. Unfortunately, we were out there. We did everything that we could. We pretty much burnt the place down. We turned on the fans and we sustained some damage. But again, let's remain positive. Let's talk about what you might expect. We might only make 10 bottles of Cabernet this year, but it's going to be the best Cabernet we've ever made. Still too early to figure out the damage, so to speak, but there's still Merlot, there's still Cab Franc, there's still Cab Sav. But Mother Nature just decided to do some early crop thinning. So hopefully that's it. We'll see how it goes. May 15th is generally the time at which we get through frost and we can get back to growing grapes. As always, a couple of shout outs just to Mary. I got your beautiful card. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy the Tuesday tastings. If you enjoyed half as much as we do, that is awesome. But thank you for taking the time just to write to us and tell how much that meant to you. So to Mary, thank you, and God bless you guys. All right, we're talking about Verdejo. We're talking about this beautiful, beautiful little wine that started, well, we didn't even make this wine initially. We're going to talk about where it comes from, why you should have it. And then at the end, always, we're going to talk about some of the discounts you can get if you buy it today. But firstly, we want to make sure that everyone is safe and well and telling people you love them. Times are tough, as always. And again, we appreciate your support and your reaching out. We appreciate every one of you. Wine club, non-wine club, in Virginia, out of Virginia. We love the people that get on. So thank you so very much for everything you do. We're always so grateful that we get to do this and make wine. But stay safe. There's some light down the line. There's talks of opening, and we'll talk about that at the end, about how we can possibly get you back to the winery in the very near future. But for the moment, let's talk about Verdejo, why it's on our property, what we do with it, the history, how Verdejo turned into V Squared. If you have any questions, please shoot them my way. We'll try answer everything. Sarah Crown, good evening to you, Sarah. And again, before we start, cheers. Here's to your health, here's to family, here's to finding the positives every day, and may your day tomorrow be better than yesterday, but never as good as the next. So cheers to you all. So Keswick was, as you know, a bit of the history. The owners, Al and Cindy Schoenberg, bought the farm in 1999 and planted grapes. And right in the middle of the house, in the middle of that beautiful little field, is 4 rows of Verdejo. And it's a very nondescript grape. It's very famous in Rueda. And Rueda is in the Castilla-León region in the northern Spain. And it's a high plateau region. It's a continental climate, and what does that mean? It gets really, really cold winters. It really, really gets hot summers, and it's that little grape that put Rueda on the map. Verdejo, because it's green, so Verde green, that's essentially it. But where does it come from? It originally comes from North Africa, and it was thought to have been brought to Spain by King Alfonso the Sixth many years ago. But it's most famous in Spain, and it's not to be confused with Verdelho, which is a Portuguese varietal that was native to the island of Madeira, and it's still to this day used in making the fortified wines of Madeira. Now, Verdejo wasn't always sort of the Prince grape. It made very sort of uninspiring, oxidized sherry-like wines. Most of the sherries are made from Palomino grapes. But when it was the Marqués de Riscal, someone sort of saw the potential of this grape and started making sort of, with the help of a French enologist, I believe it was Emile Peynaud, they started making Verdejo. Now, to label it Verdejo, you can blend it with Sauvignon Blanc, but in Rueda it's at least 50%, and it has the DO, the dominate, the basic way that you can recognize it's from that. It has to be at least 85%. Up until 2006, we weren't even using this grape at all. Surprisingly enough, we were selling it. We looked at it, we weren't really inspired by the grape, and we were selling it. So why did we start using it? Well, in 2006, we got hit by a frost in the Easter weekend, and we lost a lot of fruit. But this little guy actually made it through okay. And we decided, hey, we need some fruit. Let's make some wine. It's rather neutral. It's a very big berry. It's very, very sort of green. And, never worked with a varietal in our life, but we took it in 2006, and the response was phenomenal. It's crisp, it's vibrant, it's clean, it's everything that you want from a summertime wine. So how did V Squared come about? Well, interestingly enough, we were making Verdejo, 100% Verdejo wines up until 2011. Now in 2012, Verdejo sits just below the Viognier. We actually picked some Viognier a little bit early because Viognier, as we spoke in previous sort of times, is a low acid grape. So we picked it a little bit early to conserve the acidity. We picked the Verdejo to make the Verdejo, and we put it in our cold room. And we went home for the evening. As we do, we put the fruit in the cold room, you let it cool down, you process the next morning. You know, you get that feeling when you come up the driveway and you look at the reefer truck, the cold truck rather, and the light's off. You're like, oh crap, that cold room was a hot room. And we said, oh, it's fermenting, you can smell it, it's CO2, let's just take the Viognier and the Verdejo, let's press it together, let's weigh them, and we ended up making our first V-squared in 2012, which was a 51% Verdejo, 49% Viognier. The name, again, then indicates that it's two varietals that just start with V, Viognier and Verdejo. So we have used Vidal in place of the Viognier, so we have experimented with other varietals, but we keep coming back to a dominant Verdejo blend with Viognier. And at that point, 2012 was just supposed to be a once-off wine. You make it, you come out with a label, you explain the story, you go, it came out, things didn't go the way intended, we'll go back to making Verdejo. Surprise, surprise, people love it. And when people love it, they want it next year. So from 2012 onwards, we have been making what is fondly known as V-squared. It's one of my favorite wines to make. And I got to tell you, it's definitely one of my favorite wines to drink. So let's talk about how we make it, how does it grow, and what the future looks like for the grape. So again, just to not to forget the wine, but so this grape grows on our clay soils in front of the house, which is very, very heavy clay soils, and it's a very big grape. They're quite tight clustered. And when you taste the grapes, when you're walking through the vineyard, tasting grapes, when you're deciding when to pick, with Viognier you're looking for a lot of those sort of tropical flavors, and with Cabernet Franc you're tasting, you're trying to get away from the green flavors, and with Merlot you're looking for that sort of amplified. With the Verdejo, it's quite neutral. You get sugar, but you don't have any discernible kind of flavors descriptively. You can't taste and go, taste like that. The skins are quite chewy. They're quite thick. So the first thing we do is, number one, we got to make sure the fruit is clean, right? Because when you have a tight clustered grape and you get a lot of rain, you got a lot of humidity, that you're going to get some rot, and it might be botrytis, but initially with the humidity and the rain, it turns into sour rot or vinegar rot, and that's nothing we want to work with. The other thing is, when we pick it, we look at the acid. We want that acid to be zippy and bright and crackling and vibrant. You want that green apple. You want that bite into a Granny Smith. You want that sort of tartness. And when we have that and we look at the sugars trying to produce an alcohol that's really, really moderate, you'll see on the back label, the alcohol is only 12.5%. Because again, we're picking it at lower sugars, which mean conversion into a lower alcohol rate. And that is purposeful. We don't want this to taste hot and warm. We don't want the flavors to be bright and tropical and fruit forward. We're trying to make a wine that has citrus and stone fruits and green apple kind of character. And the first thing you got to do is you got to pick it green. Hence the name, Verdejo, green, right? So we pick it, we hand pick and machine pick. The 19 was actually machine picked. The Viognier was picked the exact same day, and the blend was put together. So it's essentially a field blend where you pick the grapes together and you process them as one wine. All right. So we get them into the press and we press it very gently. You don't want to press it too heavy, otherwise you're going to get those skin phenolics. You're going to get that pithiness, that bitterness, which is really not what we're going for, right? So we're pressing it to around 1.1, 1.2. Now that means your mid-light to medium pressed juice. Now it's very prone to oxidation, and when wines oxidize, a lot of things happen. It can get yellow, You get sort of bruised apple kind of characters, and that's not what we want. So we kind of conserve it. We make the wine reductively. We use a lot of argon or carbon dioxide. We put dry ice in there. We purge the tanks. We purge the lines. We want to keep oxygen away from this wine as much as possible, because we want to conserve sort of the vibrancy and the fresh and the acidity and the citrus and those sort of green flavors. So you press, you're tasting. You taste the juice. You're tasting, you look at the sensorial, are the flavors becoming a bit more astringent? Are they becoming a little bit more bitter? And when we reach that point where we go, we don't want to do it anymore else, we still press it, but that juice would then go into another blend, right? That press fraction can really give some structure and sort of nice kind of weight to a wine that's quite light. And in 2017, we made our Trevelyan, which was all our press fractions, which is another kind of chat down there as well. Now, the wine itself is rather neutral. So what we have to do is we have to work a little bit harder in the winery to bring out those flavors. Now, when you talk about sort of flavors and aromas of wines, we always talk about sort of it's subjective. There's nothing wrong if I say red apple and you say green apple. I say peach and you say lemon. You gotta trust your nose. And again, so it's that time. And what we're gonna do, say it with me, we're gonna have a sniffy sniff. So you look at the wine firstly. I gotta hold it up in front of me, otherwise it disappears. It's quite pale. It's quite light, which is very typical of the wine. Again, we're swirling the wine to release the volatile aromas, the esters in the wine, and volatility by definition means the ability to vaporize. And when we talk about glasses, we're not looking for a big bowl where the wine's exposed to a lot of air. I'm using a Riedel glass, which they normally use for Riesling. I find a lot of similarities between Verdejo and Riesling. So it's quite thin. The nose is, the opening of the glass is quite narrow, so it really kind of concentrates the aromas there. So you don't want to do that. Dive in, stick the nose in the glass, and you're just greeted by, asparagus and green beans, and you get sort of a grassiness, but in a really nice, vibrant way, like fresh cut grass. When you mow your lawn, you got that grass. And then you get the apple, the green apple, again, because we're dealing with malic acid and malum, Latin word for apple, green apple. And it's vibrant, and it just makes you want to dive in and drink the wine. So from sniffy sniff, we go to drinky drink. So in the mouth, and remember, don't just throw it down. Run it around all the parts of your palate and taste it. So cheers, salute, gezondheid. Let's see what you think. So I mean, I am not a salesperson. If I don't like a wine, I'll tell you. But I'm in love with this wine. I adore this wine. Every time you drink it, you get smacked with that acidity, and it has that sort of lovely chalkiness and wet rocks and stone fruit kind of character. There's a little bit of sort of peach in there as well. It's not all green herbaceousness. Now, when you talk herbaceousness, when it comes to red wines, it's generally used in terms of a negative term, right? When you talk about Cabernet Franc and you say it's herbaceous, you go, well, that's underripe and it's not well made and it's over-extracted and all that nonsense. When you talk about greenness and herbaceousness in white wines, I mean, for me, that is such a positive. Think of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Think of Sancerre from the Loire Valley. Think of Constantia Sauvignon Blancs. And that's what we're looking for. We're trying to make a wine that is somewhat similar to Sauvignon Blanc. I actually use a yeast that was developed in South Africa and is used for Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc everywhere in the world. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get those characters that come from thiols. Now, thiols are sulfur-containing compounds. They're also known as mercaptans. And mercaptans are when your wine is reduced. Now, we spoke about we're trying to keep oxygen away from the wine. So we're not making wines anaerobically. Now, we make Chardonnay anaerobically. We might make some Viogniers anaerobically. But when you're making it reductively, you're trying to keep oxygen away, right? You're blanketing, you're putting CO2 in. Now, the first H2S is the first reduction. And everyone knows what hydrogen sulfide is. It's sort of eggy and rotten eggs. Now, we're trying to take it one step further. And if it reduces further, it reduces to mercaptans. And we throw sulfur in there really, really early because, again, a mercaptan or a thiol is a sulfhydryl compound. It's got its functional group is R, S, and H. So we get sulfur in there at the juice stage very, very early. We're not adding a ton. I know when people talk about sulfur, it's how much do you add? We're talking about 25, 30 parts per million, which is milligrams per liter. So it's very minimal, but we want to get sulfur in there, and then we make the wine in a reduced style. So we choose a yeast, and then what we do is we stress the yeast, because thiols are not natural in grapes. They're generally taken and produced and manifested by the fermentation. So we produce a yeast that is highly thiolytic. The other thing is we don't feed the ferment well, because yeast require food, inorganic and organic nitrogen to ferment. And again, remember, fermentation is glucose and fructose turning into ethanol or ethyl alcohol, right? But when it struggles, it throws off these sulfur compounds. And you guessed it, it's these reduced flavors that are not negative, but then they turn into something that gives the wine sort of character and vibrancy, and then you get these sort of flinty and gunsmoke and kind of rocks. I always think of that when you talk about thiols and thiolytic character. So we actually stress the yeast. We feed it minimally, because if we don't feed it, the yeast is just going to die. And what's going to happen is you're not going to finish your ferment. You're going to have a lot of sugar left over in the wine, which could feed a lot of other things. A lot of things can oil. So it's somewhat tricky to push the envelope with not feeding it. And again, it's about stressing the yeast, but choosing a yeast that can take that stress. Choosing a yeast that can ferment at lower temperatures. What we've done, everyone's like, you get these lower temperature fermentations. You get these We've actually been fermenting a little bit warmer. We've actually been fermenting a little bit faster. And I love swimming against the tide. A lot of people were like, many years ago, we were doing uninoculated fermentations and feeding them. Now we're doing inoculated fermentations and not feeding them at all. We're creating essentially a nutrient desert, so to speak. So the only nutrients there will get scavenged by the yeast. You get these highly thiolytic, again, that sort of green bean, once a gun goes off. And I just love it. So if you have the V squared in your glass, tell me what you think. Am I full of nonsense? Do you love it as much as I do? Because it is my summertime wine. That and our rosé. If you think of a wine that, man, it's hot, it's humid, you chuck your suit off, you get in your shorts, your flip-flops, you go on the deck. You've got this in the fridge from the morning, you just crack that bottle, and guess what? It's gone in like 20 minutes. 25 maybe if you're having a good day. And that's what it is. So again, we always make wine that you can drink, but it also is very, very food friendly. And when you think of Spain, I always think seafood. I mean, incredible seafood in Spain. One rule of thumb is, if it grows together, it goes together. So if you're drinking Spanish wine, go with Spanish seafood. If you think of oysters on the half shell, ceviche with cilantro and fresh herbs with some lemon and citrus juice kind of drizzled over that, fish, kind of trout, octopus. If you think of shellfish and seafood, this is your wine. I mean, this wine has got acidity, it's balanced, it's fresh, it's vibrant. You can pair it with sort of fatty foods as well, because you can use the acidity to cut through the fat in the dish. So diver scallops, some cream sauces work really, really well, and they play with a lot of sort of spicy components as well. Cilantro, bell pepper, what else? Poblano pepper. Poblano pepper is one of my favorite sort of peppers I'm cooking with nowadays, and this wine just goes incredibly well. 2019 is the vintage, which was an incredible vintage. An incredible vintage. Now, what makes an incredible vintage in Virginia, for me, very simply is you pick the grapes when you want to, at the parameters that you want to, that'll allow you to make the kind of wine you want to make. Now that encompasses a whole bunch of other different things. But in 18, we were picking when we had a gap. But in 19, the fruit was clean. It was a cooler vintage, so it had vibrancy, it had natural acidity. Because we're picking this green purposefully. This year we might even pick it greener still. Excuse me. Why not 11%, 11.5%? How long will it last is a question. The answer honestly would be it's so delicious right now that I don't know if it needs time in a bottle. I really don't. I think it's so lovely right now that it really doesn't require a year or two in the bottle. Will it be able to sit a year or two in the bottle? Absolutely. I mean, it's got acidity. I hopefully think it's well made, but is it going to provide additional enjoyment? I don't know. Is the wine going to change? Absolutely. Will it have that sort of vibrancy and that green kind of character? I don't know. I don't really age these wines. They're best drunk within 6 months to a year from bottling. This was bottled in January 30th. It's 3 months in the bottle, give or take, going on 4, and it's just lovely. It's just lovely. And God, I hope you enjoy it too. So 2019 production is a question. We made 300 cases, and even though we closed, we're down to 140 cases, so it's going quickly. It seems to be incredibly positive. So the future of Verdeo, we have a question all the time going, are we going to go back to making a single varietal Verdeo? And yes, there is a part of us that says we got to go back to the original, but love the V squared. So let's see if there's any questions out there. I see one right in front of me from Kenny. Do you still co-ferment the V squared together like you did the first time? Are you fermenting the lots separately and blending later? Kenny, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for the question. We are co-fermenting. The grapes, they grow next to each other. We harvest them, we harvest them separately, so to speak, but we put them in the press. We're trying to meter, the blend. So when we went into the 19, we said we wanted to make a dominant Verdejo. We wanted to go back to the original 2012, which was 5148. This one, gosh, where are my notes? I should know this because I freaking made the wine. This one is dominantly, it's 50, let me see. What is it? It is 58% Verdeo. I was right. I just wanted to be 100% sure. But we co-ferment. We analyze the grapes separately. We try and pick them at the same time, but absolutely we co-ferment. But thank you so much for the question. I hope you're doing well. So what else is there? Do we have any questions, Kath, or not many?
Do you know who else grows Verdejo in Virginia?
Who else grows Verdeo in Virginia? I believe no one. And I'm not 100%. I don't think there's another winery up and down the East Coast that grow Verdejo. So someone get on Google and see if that's the case. But I don't know of any other winery in Virginia that grows Verdejo. But I'll make this prediction. I think a lot of people will down the line. I think with climate change and seasons, and frosts and late season rains, Verdeo might be a varietal you want to consider. Think of Albarino. A couple of years, Albarino wasn't even known what that grape was. Now people are planting that. So I believe we're the only ones that grow it, but I would imagine more people are going to grow it down the line, especially if you taste this wine. Why wouldn't you want access to these grapes if we can make that wine year in and year out?
Speaking of Albarino, do you have any plans to grow Albarino?
Oh, golly. Question is, will we, and have we thought about growing Albarino? Oh, there's a bunch of varietals I would like to grow. I just don't think our site is really suitable for that. I mean, I would love to grow Sauvignon Blanc. I'd love to grow Chenin Blanc or maybe Tannat. But I think we have the right varietals planted on the property. So I would imagine, not for the foreseeable future, but Albarino is probably not one that we would grow. But if you want an incredible Albarino, you should try Blenheim's. or Chrysalis. They make incredible Albarino. But thank you for the question. But I don't think as of now we have plans to grow Albarino.
Okay, and then Susan Crandall asked, why do you see little bubbles in the glass?
Great pickup, Susan. Why do we see bubbles in the glass? Well, the little bubbles are carbon dioxide, and we actually bottle the wine with a certain amount of dissolved CO2 in the wine. And what that does, it's a little trick we use to sort of give the wine some vibrancy. So we don't sparge it and want it to be still. We actually bottle it with a little bit of spritz, and I think not only does it make the wine quite flirtatious and quite fun, but I think it really enhances sort of the characters and the acidity on the wine as well. So it's not heavily carbonated, but there is a touch of CO2, and hopefully the intention we do it is to try and give the wine some vibrancy, and hopefully that's what you get. But great pickup. I saw Susan Glenn said the V squared is better than past vintages. It's awesome. Well, thank you. I hope you will say that about the 2020 and the 2021. We always want to know that these wines are better than last year, but never as good as the next. But I would agree. This is probably one of my favorite V squareds, along with the 14 and the 16. I absolutely adored. But I think we're really starting to figure out how to make this wine, when to pick this wine, how to grow this wine, and I'm so glad you love it. So I appreciate it. So say hi to Dave. Let me know what you're cooking tonight and what you're going to pair it with. So great. Great boat wine, sure is. Great day on the lake, great day at the beach, great day at the pool, great day for summer, for spring, for being alive. Great day to celebrate. It's just a great wine for a great day. If you're with family, you're with friends, and you're outdoors, and you can be around people you enjoy, and you want to celebrate, the V squared is a great wine. It's a pretty wine. So appreciate that, and I agree. So chicken Alfredo, Mr. Fillmore, let me know how that goes. Because Alfredo is quite a rich cream sauce. Be interesting to see if the wine has enough sort of acidity to get through it. So let's see. Dennis Sugameli, to you and Marsha and the watch party, want to say hello. Let's see, one of the best V squares you've made. Oh my God, the comments go so quickly. I've lost you. But I know you're enjoying it and you're having fun and you're cooking something. And I was getting there, but I hope it's good. So let's see what else. What else can we talk about? It's one of those.
Sugameli asked why Verdeo was planted at Keswick. That was his comment.
I think the question is, why was Verdeo planted at Keswick? I think the great thing about entrepreneurs and not business people is sort of that spirit of adventure. And if you look at Al and the history, I mean, he came from corporate, the corporate hamster wheel kind of turning, but his passion was wine. And it took an event to go, I need to go and sort of pursue my passion. And he left a very successful corporate world and career and decided to open up a winery in Virginia, of all places. And I think when you have that sort of endeavor and you want to try something new, you're not going to go with the tried and tested. Why would you plant Norton, Touriga, Chamberson, Verdejo? We had some classic varietals there as well, but I think it was part and parcel of let's experience and let's try different things. Let's figure out what we can do, because we don't know. Great call, boss. I don't think I would have planted Verdeo, but I don't think it was planted with any intention. I think it was planted with, let's see where this can go. Let's see what kind of wine we can make from it. Let's see what Touriga can do. Let's just see. Would we have planted it, knowing then what we know now? If we could make this wine, if we could have shoved a glass of wine and said, this is what you can make on this property, done and dusted. But I think that was it. No intention. Who the hell would have planted Cabernet Sauvignon in Virginia? And he put a bunch of it in the back, and look at that, right? So we don't know anything about winemaking. We're learning. We're getting better. We've only done this a few years. You think the 19 is good? Wait until the 20 and the 21 and the 22 and the 23. What we want you to do is say, oh my God, this is even better than last year's. And I loved last year's. I love the 18. I love the 16. I love the 14. I agree. The 19 builds upon that. And that's our job. That's our job, is to push the envelope, to kind of really kind of see where we can go with that. And again, we don't want to make wines that we're loved that won't be well received. We do want to make wines that you love to drink and want to buy. But I'm super stoked by it. But I really think it's a spirit of adventure and just trying something. And when you find your passion, you're not working, and you throw everything into it and you try everything. And I'm so glad he planted it. And yeah, hopefully that answers the question. Nancy said, sold. I'll take 140 cases. All right, folks, that's it for tonight. We're done. V Squared is sold out. Thank you, Nancy. No, all right. Well, I hope you love it, Nancy, but God bless you guys. So stick around. We're going to take a few more questions and chat about it. And in about 5 minutes, we'll talk about is Keswick opening and how you can get this wine. It's an incredible value. It's only $29.95, but if you're in the wine club, you get 20% off. But if anyone buys 3 bottles of this wine before midnight, you're going to get an additional 5. And if you buy 6 bottles or more before midnight, you're going to get an additional 10%. That's 30% off this wine. So this is a $30 wine. You're taking $9 off. You're getting this wine for $21. Folks, we're giving this wine away for free. You're getting it cheaper than I do, and I make the wine. So, yeah. Well, there's the code. We jumped the gun a little bit. An additional 5% off on Wine Club members. If you're not a Wine Club member, be a part of the Wine Club. Wine Club members tell other people they should be a part of the Wine Club. It's an incredible club. But 5% additionally on 3 bottles, 10% on 6 bottles or more. Kim Sartorius, what barrels are these aged in? This wine doesn't see any oak. We did experiment one year where we put 12% of the portion in neutral French oak to try and give it some texture and richness. But we decided to step away from that. So 100% tank fermented, tank matured, tank fermented. There's no oak in there whatsoever. But hope you're doing well. Lots of love to everybody else. Michael France, is this done in stainless? 100% stainless steel. So yep, no oak whatsoever. You can build texture in a wine by using the dead yeast. Again, if you think it's very well and good having a wine that's sort of bright and acidic, but you don't want a wine that's just all tip of the palate, right? It needs weight, it needs viscosity, but how do you build texture without sacrificing acidity? And we do a lot of lees work. We actually collect the dead yeast. We stir the barrel or the tank up. We put a big old, what we call a gut stir on it. And as the yeast breaks down, it releases manoproteins into the wine, which are found in the skins of the grapes, or in the yeast rather. And that really sort of binds with any tannins in the wines, and it really can give you some lovely texture. And we use that instead of oak. We used to just think we could maybe back blend a little bit of portion out of a barrel in there and give it some weight. But we do some lees work, but it's 100% tank fermented and tank matured. So Mary Gablunas, thank you for your card. I don't know if you saw my comments earlier, but I got your card, and I love the fact that you think these Tuesday tastings are great. And if we can be there to help you through anything and give you just a little bit of fun while we drink some wine, it is our honor and our pleasure. So thank you to you, and God bless you, right? Let's see. Anna Sisman says flirtatious. Absolutely. This is a pretty girl. No one wants to kind of go and talk to her, but she's alone. You got to go. And once you meet her, you find there's a lot going on, and you fall in love. It's an incredible wine. It's one of I think it's one of your favorite wines that we make. Favorite. There you go. Don't listen to me. Listen to my boss, which is actually my wife. It's her favorite wine at Keswick Vineyards. She loves it. Shannon Holland, what temperature do you recommend this? I love this wine quite cold. Low 50s. I think the temperature brings out the vibrancy and the acidity. I don't mind it warming up a little bit, but I think this wine is best served cold and chilly. But again, remember, this is not how you should drink wine. This is not what you should pair with this wine. This is about, hey folks, you need to drink this wine in a way that gives you enjoyment. You want this, and you want a big ribeye steak You want to serve this absolutely warm. You want to put ice blocks in this wine, and that's how you enjoy it. Go for it. Have fun with it. Wine can be so stuffy sometimes. We just want you to drink wine. We want you to drink local. We want you to explore. We want you to find out what works for you. But at the end of the day, it's drink what you like, how you like, when you like. Couple of things. We're coming up to 20 to 8. If you get on our Facebook page, I don't know if you saw, we have t-shirts designed by my sister-in-law. If you want to get a Tasting Tuesday t-shirt, you can order it online. I'm not sure what the price is, but it has drinky drink, swirly swirl, snippy sniff, or whatever it is, Tasting Tuesdays with Keswick Vineyards and I. Mine's coming in the mail. I'm going for a gray. You can get any color, any size. So check out our website. And let's do a Zoom meeting one day. We all have our t-shirts on, and let's make this go viral. That'd be great. Lanny White says, I'm thinking linguine with clam sauce. Now I'm hungry. Sounds phenomenal. Clams can be sometimes briny, and I think it's just going to play off beautifully with this acidity. Kathy Clifton, people are viewing tonight. That's awesome. You said 114 people. That's amazing. I will talk to one person, but I am so overjoyed. Let's see. Nancy Bauer, you are South African. Do you want to work with any South African grapes? I am South African, and I am very particular about Chenin Blanc. I love Chenin Blanc. I think it's the varietal. So South Africa has more Chenin Blanc than anything or any other country combined. I think it's a phenomenal wine, and there's a part of me that would love to. But again, we do not have the vineyard that will allow us to make a really, really good Chenin Blanc. So for now, I am just an admirer of the South African Chenin Blancs. I love South African Shiraz. I love South African Sauvignon Blanc. I love South African Rosés. Just love South African wines. Let's see, what else? I double dare anyone to ask me about Norton. Next question. Aloha from Hawaii, from Beverly Scruggs. Good evening, or it's probably not good evening. What are we talking about? We're probably late afternoon, but aloha to you in Hawaii. Loved visiting the Big Island. Hope to be there soon. So let's see. Virginia Wine Dogs. What do I think about Norton? I hate it. Don't like it. Again, I'm not here as a salesperson. I'm here to be authentic and tell you at the end of the day, you got to drink what you like, how you like. For me personally, I don't care for it much. I don't like working with it. I've had one or two Nortons where I'm like, but I get more inspired by a Cabernet Franc, a Sauv, a Merlot, a Petit Verdot, a Chenin Blanc, a Syrah, any other grape. I'm not a big fan of it. I apologize. I know it's Virginia's grape and it has the history and, but I think maybe you can appreciate that I'm just being upfront and saying, like, if I can tell you got to drink what you like, how you like, and do that, I've got to be the same, right? So not a big fan of Norton. I apologize. Seth Nelson, hope you're having fun up in New York. Hope you're staying safe. Let us know how you're doing. It's been a while, but I hope you guys are doing all right. Erica is moving to Keswick in late July. Super excited to be close by. We are awesome. We would love to have you. Come and say hello. Come and introduce yourself. Come and say hi. We'll show you about the property, and hopefully we'll drink some wines together. So let's talk about that. Everyone's asking what is happening with the business, and truthfully, we're not 100% sure. We are very cognizant of a couple of things. Number one, if we open, we have to do it safely. We have a responsibility to our staff to make sure that they are in an environment that they feel comfortable working in. Number two, we want to make sure that our customers are not only taken care of and you get the service that you are accustomed to and you deserve, but you come feeling safe knowing that we are going to take every precaution. So we are following all guidelines as given to us by Governor Northam. We are planning on being open on Friday, but it is limited people. I believe it's 20 people. It's reservation only. We'll practice social distancing. Everything is disposable. But we are going to be sending out emails. There's going to be on our website, on our social media. We're going to let you know how, when, and how you can come in and enjoy our wines, but do it in a setting that you feel comfortable with. So still a lot to be decided. We want to open. Don't get us wrong. We're dying to get you guys to the winery. We're dying to pour some of these wines for you. We're dying just to see you. I'm dying just to say, oh my God, I haven't seen you forever. We are cognizant of the bigger picture though. If we just take our time, what I want to do is get through this pandemic, get through these craziness, so we can invite everybody back and we can get back to what we really love doing, and that is to share our wonderful wines with you, our customers. So stay tuned. There's still some details. We're still working it out, but we're hard at work taking every precaution that we can to make sure that our staff and you, our phenomenal customers, are taken care of and are safe. Let's see, a few more minutes if you want. Kim Sartorius, that is such a kind thing to say. The Keswick wine family is amazing. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Dennis Sugameli, 13 in my watch party. Dennis, where are they watching? I know we've had overseas in Puerto Rico. Anybody else? Donna Goff, South Africa makes really Chenin Blancs. I love their wines. If you can get the Hope Marguerite from Beaumont, or you can get any of the Alheit wines, oh my God, you'll fall in love. Let's see, we have Michael Franz signing our barrel owner paperwork tomorrow. Welcome to the Barrel Owner Club. Look forward to meeting with you and trying some wines out of that barrel. Really, really appreciate it. Let's see. Kathy Clifton, thank you for coming up the other day and ordering pharmacy food. It was lovely to see you. Hope you and your family and your daughter are doing well. I'm so excited to hear she's doing well in real estate. Send our love. Who else? Al Schornberg. Oh God, there he goes again. Hey boss. Huh?
That was about the Norton.
Oh, about the Norton. I thought you were just giving me a hard time because I'm so passionate about our wines. But Mary, I love the fact that you love Norton. Let's agree to disagree, right? Will Leet, still the best Norton I've ever had is from Keswick. I must have been a fluke, but we appreciate it. The 2012 Norton Reserve got a double gold in California and was actually one of those wines I could really drink. And Chris Schornberg, good evening to my incredibly talented sister-in-law. Hi Chris, hope you're doing well. We used Norton to make Royale, our ice wine. And that was okay. It was okay. People loved it. And again, look, at the end of the day, folks, if we all like the same music and the same colors and the same cars, life would be boring, right? So let's celebrate our individuality and let's celebrate and respect each other's differences when it comes to wine. Mine is, I love every wine except for Norton. So let's see what else is there. If I haven't mentioned you tonight or haven't reached out, I apologize. The comments come really, really quickly. I will get on in the morning, as I always do, and I'll answer those questions. And, we appreciate it. So let's see if there's anything else. Did I see Virginia Wine Time? Paul and Warren, good evening. You're not a fan of Norton either. But I know you love Chardonnay, and I love Chardonnay, and we have an incredible 2019 Chardonnay State Reserve coming your way really, really soon. So let's see. Any other questions? Anything you would like to ask before we say goodbye and au revoir for another week? It's hard to imagine we have to wait 7 days before we do this again. So what do you think, sweetie? Any other questions?
There were some questions about, do you still only have 4 rows of Verdejo, and if so, did they survive the frost?
We still have 4 rows. We've got rows of everything, whether they survived or not. We had some damage, but it's actually one of the positives of the frost. Even though it's Vitis vinifera, we only lost about 20%. And in normal years, 20% is a heck of a loss. But in this year, in this weekend, 20% will take as a loss. So we might make less wine, but I promise you we might make less, but we'll make better wines. How's that? So still 4 rows, still some fruit out there, just not as much as we normally get. So, but thank you for the question. All right, everyone need a top up? I know I do. We're going through the questions and trying to find some folks that we can answer, but again, let's just remind.
When are you getting a helicopter?
When am I getting a helicopter? It's a phenomenal question. So to explain the reference, the helicopter is used to fight frost. And when we have a radiation freeze, we have warmer air up in the up higher and the cool air down the bottom. And the wash of the helicopter would bring it down. We've used helicopters in the past. Our neighbors love us when we fly those helicopters at 2 or 3 in the morning. Were they effective? Not at that point. Are they somewhat effective? They don't hurt. Incredibly costly. Hopefully we won't have to kind of wonder how we're going to get through this frost. This was one of the worst latest frosts we've ever had. We had a frost in 2002, May 25th, I believe. In the subsequent years, almost 20 years after that, I have never seen weather like this. Diane Reagan, hello from Rustburg again. Good evening, Diane. It's so lovely to see you.
Can you go over what the deal was for Verdejo?
Oh,
V squared again, and
yeah.
If you need a discount code for that.
Absolutely, no discount code. If there was, I don't have it. But if you're a wine club member, and why wouldn't you be a part of the wine club? Remember, again, there's if you're a wine club member and you sign up a person to be a wine club, you get a free bottle of wine, as do they. So tell your friends, spread the word. But if you're a wine club member and you get your discount, whether you're a gold or a silver, if you buy 3 bottles or more of V squared, you're going to get an additional 5%. So Dennis Sugamelli, when you buy 3 bottles of wine this evening, you're going to get not your 20%, you're going to get your 25%. Kathy Clifton, when you buy your 6 bottles this evening, you're going to get an additional 10% off your normal discount. So 5% for 3 bottles, 6 bottles and above, you're going to get an additional 10% on top of your discount anyway. The other part of the question was, the promo code. I don't believe there's a promo code. Just go to our website, keswickvineyards.com. It's good through midnight. So take advantage if you love the wine. Don't buy the wine because I love it. Don't buy the wine because I'm telling you to buy it. But if you love this wine, buy this wine. 140 cases. So, we're not going to run out just yet, but you're not going to get the deals like you did today, hopefully. So V squared 2019 Monticello Cup, top 3 whites, only 19 to do that, which we love, and what a wonderful accolade to my staff. Because at the end of the day, I do very little work. I always want to kind of spread some love to the team. And for those that are watching, we miss our tasting room staff, who are incredible. But our vineyard team and our winery team are incredible as well. And I'm always thrilled when wines do well, because at the end of the day, my benchmark is do they sell and do you love it? And for them, I love the fact if anyone recognizes it and they tell them that they did a great job, that's cool. So let's see who else is out there. Jim McDonald, how about some social distancing golf? Well, when you hit it down the middle and I go into the rough, you were about 100 yards apart from each other. So sounds great. I would love to see you. Sierra in Canada from Toronto, thank you for joining us. Hope you're well. Good luck on your wine journey. Eddie Kirby, when are you getting a helicopter? We had 3 last night. We just didn't fly them. So did I answer the question from Nancy Bauer? What's the deal?
Yes.
I believe I did. So, all right, folks. Sad to be going.
Really quick. For next week for the Chiriga, do you recommend people decant it before they?
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you for reminding me. That's why I'm married to this beautiful and sort of intelligent young lady next to me. Next week we've got 2 more wines to go in this pack. You can still get the wines. You can buy just the Chiriga or the Cabernet Sauvignon, but it's a great question. Decant the Chiriga 1 to 2 hours prior to coming on. You can double decant, and what that means is you pour the wine into the decanter and then back into the bottle. It will really open up the wine. Chiriga is going to be a fun wine to talk about because it's actually quite polarizing. I think everyone loves this wine. It's easy to talk about that, but it's difficult to talk about a wine that's polarizing. I love Chiriga, but it's funky and it's earthy and it's a food wine. But yes, great question, and I'm sorry I didn't bring that up. But yeah, the 2000 and what's the vintage? 2017 Touriga, and then the following Tuesday, that's the big guy, and that's our 2016 Cabernet Sauvignon estate wine that is just drinking beautifully right now. All right, well, let me say this. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting some time aside. Thank you so much for joining us, for supporting us, for reaching out. We appreciate anyone just picks up the phone or sends an email saying, how did you guys do? We're thinking about you. We appreciate it. I hope you love this wine, because I do. I adore this wine, and I drink a lot of it. You can see it's kind of gone. And again, God bless you and your families. Tell people you love them. Hug those that you can. Don't take anything for granted. But there's still a lot to be positive about, right? Sun comes up, and we're healthy, we're happy, and we're drinking pretty darn good Virginia wine. So life can't be that bad, right? So to everybody out there, one last time, cheers. Love you guys, appreciate you guys, and hopefully we see you next week. Touriga Nacional, followed by our Cab Sav. So until then, God bless. Oh, that was awesome.